I am here because my parents, Manuel and Maria Teresa, who had only their hope and health when they settled in Sacramento, taught me to earn the American dream.
California's Attorney General Xavier Becerra during his recent confirmation hearing to become the next Health and Human Secretary. Welcome back to Inside the Issues. I'm Alex Cohen. The big question with Becerra's confirmation quite likely is who might take over for him as Attorney General here in the Golden State. And joining us now for more on that topic is CalMatters reporter Laurel Rosenhall. Laurel, it is great to have you back with us.
Good to be here. Thank you.
Let's talk a little bit, first of all, as you have written about, just how truly rare and extraordinary it is that Governor Gavin Newsom has been able to make so many of these appointments. I mean, to do the old match game question, how rare is it?
You know, it's extremely rare. This will be his third really high-profile appointment of an elected official, and it hasn't been since the 1950s that a California governor had appointed this many high-level officials in such a short period of time. So this is truly historic, the amount of power that Newsom's having right now to shape the future of Democratic politics in California.
Yeah, and of course, he replaced Kamala Harris in the Senate with Alex Padilla. His spot open as Secretary of State. He filled that with Shirley Weber. U.S. Senator, Secretary of State, those jobs tend to kind of be the same year after year to a certain extent. But the job of Attorney General here in California, it's changing a lot. How so?
Yeah, well, during the Trump presidency, California was really focused on being the state of resistance, and that responsibility fell largely to the Attorney General. You know, Attorney General Becerra had filed more than 100 lawsuits against the Trump administration. Now, with the Democrat in the White House, the Attorney General's role in California will be very different. It won't be about suing the feds every other week. It'll really be more about focusing on the state, on what's happening here. And the Attorney General has enormous power over, consumer protection and internet privacy and gambling and firearms regulations, all kinds of things. So we expect much more of an internal focus.
Yeah, there are a number of different names that are being bandied about. You broke the list down in your piece on CalMatters by assets and liabilities. Tell us about some of these potential future AGs.
Well, one of the top contenders is Darrell Steinberg. He's the mayor of Sacramento. He has been a leader in the state legislature, so he does have a lot of experience on state level issues, and he's a very close ally of Governor Newsom's. Your audience might be more familiar with Congressman Adam Schiff. He's obviously a congressman from the Los Angeles area. He gained a lot of attention during the Trump impeachment the first time around. And then there's a district attorney from Santa Clara named Jeff Rosen. Probably the most high-profile prosecution that he was involved in was that of the Brock Turner, who was the Stanford student who was prosecuted for rape in that very high-profile trial a couple of years ago.
Laurel, right now, Governor Gavin Newsom is certainly facing a lot of pressure from those saying, with all of these appointments, let's not continue this tradition of white men. And of course, Xavier Becerra, a Latino attorney general. There are some people of color in the mix. Tell us about some of those possibilities.
Yeah, another top contender is Assemblyman Rob Bonta. He's a progressive from the East Bay in the Bay Area. He's also, allies with Newsom, and they've worked together on issues related to the prisons. And then there's a prosecutor named Diana Becton from Contra Costa County in the East Bay. Goodwin Liu is a state Supreme Court justice, and Ana Caballero is a state senator who represents a rural, more swing district in the Salinas area.
Yeah, and in the midst of Governor Gavin Newsom making this big decision, folks might have noticed, because Gavin Newsom has been on The View, he's been on CNN, he's been on MSNBC. He is full on in campaign mode right now, too, in addition to being governor. How might this looming recall effort affect the decision about who he taps to be the next AG?
Yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot, and I think it really could go either way. On the one hand, you could imagine that he wants to shore up his support among progressives. That's an important part of his base, and he's going to want to pick someone who will be maybe more aggressive on police reform and police accountability and that kind of thing, and shore up his support with progressives. On the other hand, he might feel like he needs to not isolate the law enforcement community while he's facing this recall, and not isolate the more moderate Democratic voters in California, and choose someone who is a little bit more law and order. So I think it could really go either way. And those are a lot of the competing pressures, both with the pool of candidates is sort of the moderate versus the progressive, and then also with, Governor Newsom's Democratic coalition that he needs to really unite to beat back this recall.
And Laurel, as you also wrote about, Governor Gavin Newsom kind of stepped in it a little bit recently in one of those big national media appearances. Can you talk a little bit about what he said in terms of yet another potential appointment he might have to make?
Yeah, well, when he was on MSNBC earlier this week, the host asked him if he would commit to appointing a Black woman to the United States Senate should Senator Dianne Feinstein resign. He said yes, and he said he had a couple of names in mind. And to those who have been watching the machinations of all of these appointments that he's had to do in the last few months, it made sense, because there was a lot of concern when he replaced Kamala Harris with Alex Padilla that the United States Senate lost its only Black woman senator. And it's a strange fact of life that, one governor in California could be the deciding factor in whether the United States Senate has representation by a Black woman. So he said that, and then the next day he did have to kind of walk it back. I mean, he basically just said, "Oh, I don't expect Senator Feinstein to go anywhere." She was busy telling the press that she had no intention to resign. So it's kind of one of those sort of trying to have it both ways moments.
Yeah, fascinating stuff. Our thanks to you, Laurel Rosenhall, and viewers, you can tune in every Wednesday to experience more of the great reporting coming out of CalMatters.